Hello and welcome to the Third and Long podcast. And this week we are going Westside. So
Oh,
yeah,
indeed.
a very creative name by our friend Mr. Butler Henderson, who is with me as always.
Good
And
evening, all. How are we all?
we have a great show planned tonight.
We definitely do. It's going to be a good show. Hopefully, it's not one of our 2-hour specials that we sometimes kind of have.
Yeah, I know. Love Island's on its 10. We need to get this done.
Love Island by 10. Oh, God.
Anyway, let's dive straight into the news.
Yes, as I get my earphones untangled. Kids and trying to get everything sorted.
So we'll start with Corey Willis being retiring from the NFL after 3 seasons.
That is a shock and a half, that is. I really was not expecting that. That was like... He's like obviously done mandatories and he's done obviously OTAs and voluntary workouts and all that, and then he decides to go, you know what, don't fancy this anymore.
Obviously, I think maybe there's an injury that the coach didn't mention.
Possibly. I mean, I haven't seen the Colts press release yet.
Me either.
So, but yeah, it was a strange one, this one. I mean, he's had 3 seasons in the league now. He's like made 219 tackles in 39 games, 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 recovery, and he's scored 1 touchdown from the other side as well.
I have to admit, when I saw Willis retired, I was like, didn't that happen about 5 years ago?
I thought Mac Willis had retired already. I haven't got any friends in this team. They won't mentor me. No, it is sad that players, retiring now at such an early age, but they do say the average NFL player's career is 4 years.
Yes.
And you think Tom Brady's been playing now for what, 22 years?
Yeah. People need to balance it out.
It's ridiculous how brilliant that is.
It's incredible. Did you see Brady's comment today?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
He said, I saw Aaron Donald's workout and thought, damn, maybe I should have stayed retired.
That bloke is an absolute beast. That's Aaron Donald, not Tom Brady.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's also a beast, Tom Brady.
Yes. A very, very different style of beast.
Yeah.
But, there is players now that, they're having the strains of the bodies, they're now having this extra game a season. Perhaps you're going to see players retire earlier than they used to.
Kids were saying they should have 2 bye weeks.
In theory, they do, because they have one at the start of the season, don't they, after pre-season?
Not always.
I think they do now.
But I mean, pre-season doesn't really matter because they start to play about 3 quarters in the 3 seasons. I think I see where Kittle's coming from.
I do as well.
I mean, George, if you want 2 bye weeks, just play your heart out so we can get first seed.
Well, he's more of a blocker now, isn't he? So he's going to take more hits.
Yeah.
But it's down to that, isn't it? People getting hit, and I did hear a rumor ages and ages ago that they looked at increasing the roster depth as well. I mean, they've got more practice squad players now, haven't they? They've upped that to 12, haven't they, from 7?
Yeah, and then plus the IPP.
Yeah, so it's almost like they need more active rostered players because they've got this extra game. So there's going to be these extra injuries. Everyone says, "Oh, wow, an extra game," but you try playing a 90 minutes of American football, it's going to hurt. It's going to play.
Yes.
Not 90 minutes an hour.
3 hours. Minutes.
3 hours. In some cases, it's going to hurt after a while. It's going to take toll on your body, especially the amount of hits you have on your head as well. Yes. So, yeah. I mean, he's not given a real reason why he's retired either. He just...
No.
There was a lot of Bible speech.
Yes. You could tell it had gone through a lawyer.
Yeah. Very much so. But I wish him all the best in his retirement, and we hope to see him do something else very soon.
Yes. onto the quarterback carousel, which is starting to grind to a halt.
Yeah, this seems to be going on and on and on. The Baker steam train seems to be running out of steam, and then someone seems to stoke the fire again, and it seems to go again. I mean,
Right, so while we're here, I just want to look at Baker's stats. I've got them here.
go
So
on then.
he's played 60 games, got a 61.6 percentage completion rate, 1,400, 14,125 yards. So that's 7.3 average, 92 touchdowns, 56 interceptions, and an 87.8 quarterback rating. Like, that's not great stats for our first pick.
It's not brilliant, but don't forget he played for an average at best. You know, Cleveland Browns for 2 seasons. And his first season, he wasn't starting for the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, but these are all the games he started.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, he's still not a. It's like I said, it's not brilliant stat. It's not brilliant stats, but like I said, he played for a very average Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, but the Browns have always had a good rushing attack, which should help them.
There's only so many times you can hand the ball off.
Yeah.
That's
Tell that to Carson Wentz last season.
yeah, and Derrick Henry the season before that. It's one of those things that you need to have a 50-50 game. And Cleveland do rely very heavily on the run game. Can't say anything. So does New England at the moment. But
Baker did play years with Odell and Jarvis Landry as wide receivers.
agreed. I completely agree with that one. But he's only just really. Let's say last season he was injured, so knock a few stats off that. Let's look at the season that he had 2020. What were those stats like?
I don't know. I've only got his career stats here.
Let me bring it up on ESPN very quickly.
It's just you need to think like if he's going to the Panthers, they don't have a great wide receiver core.
Agreed, but he is a step up from Sam Darnold, isn't he?
Is he though?
I think he is. I think he's a step up. I mean,
Okay.
we have said several times that he isn't. Sam Darnold isn't a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, his season before in 305 from 2020. Now, the 16 games, so he played 2 games more, admittedly. He had 305 completions out of 486 attempts. His completion percentage was 62.8. For just over 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He was sacked 26 times. This season, he was sacked 43 times. And in 2019, he was sacked 40.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at my quarterback rating and seeing where I put Mayfield. I did put him ahead of Donald.
I didn't even put him as my starting quarterbacks.
Oh, you're right. I did. I don't know why I did because he's not starting. But yeah.
So on his 2020 season, his stats weren't too bad. 3,500 yards. It's about average. 26 touchdowns, possibly a little bit on the low side. His first season in 14 games was 27 touchdowns. But there's more turnovers.
Yeah, but he had Odell. He had a healthy Odell and a healthy Odell that wasn't throwing his toys out the pram, and a healthy Landry.
2018, I don't think he had Odell. I think Odell was still in New York. He definitely had Landry. But yeah, but I do think he's a step up on Sam Darnold. I really do, if I'm honest.
Okay, yeah, he probably is. He probably is a slight step up, but I don't. I mean, I've got Jimmy Garoppolo stats here, and he has a better quarterback rating, a better completion percentage, and a better average yards per attempt. So I mean,
from the same season. But the thing is with Sam Darnold, he's not played any more than 13 games. He's always been injured.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, Baker was injured the back end of last season, or for most of last season, but he played. Sam Darnold's missed games. He's never played more than 13 games in a season. His completion percentage is down in the 50s. He's only once hit in the 60s. He's only once got to 3,000 yards. He's only once He's in his first 2 seasons in New York, he was 17, 19 touchdowns, and then there was 9 in the next 2 and 11 interceptions. That says, for me, Baker is the better quarterback.
Yeah, but do you think Baker's the better quarterback than Garoppolo, who's the other person that's out there?
I would, if I was me and I was a GM, I would go for Jimmy because Jimmy has proved himself over and over and over. He's
For
got
me,
team. He's got your team to the playoffs. What 3 times in the last 4 years? Twice in the last 3 years. Then
yeah. For me, Baker has a higher ceiling, but a lower floor than Jimmy.
maybe that's because of the franchise he's in.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But if you look at Jimmy's stats, 67% completion rate, 8.4 average yards per attempt, and a 97.2 quarterback rating, it is better than Baker. But
Yeah.
he's had Debo, he's had Ayuk, he's had Kittle.
Exactly. He's had that definite 1, 2, and 3. And okay, would you put Landry and Odell in that Niners wide receiver core?
No, because they've never been fit.
Exactly. They have never. There's been a lot of times they've been playing injured. Odell, I can't remember the last time Odell had a full season.
Yeah.
That says something about Odell. Such a talented player he is, but he's never had a full season.
He's made of one-ply toilet paper.
I was going to say MDF actually then, but never mind. Next to one of the Legion of Booms is setting up a way to hang up his cleats by the sounds of it.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Yeah, especially if the rumor is with Kay. But he has said it doesn't mean it's the end of his playing career.
Yes.
So it's almost like a Tom Brady type thing. He signed this deal with Amazon, but he still wants to play.
But I don't think anyone will sign him now. He has signed this deal.
No, I mean, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? If it's only going to be Thursday night football and he's only going to miss the one game for Amazon, I wouldn't complain. I would sign him. If you were down a couple of corners, say in week 8.
Oh yeah, he might get signed mid-season, but I'm not saying it's because of that deal. I just feel like nobody's going to sign him because they think
because
they
think
think
old now.
Yeah.
He is getting old, and it is it's getting a younger and younger lead. I mean, especially when you got someone like Chase and Jefferson and Coop. Who are like
lightning, yeah.
Lightning quick, mid to young 20s, who are getting 2,000-yard seasons.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and it's like you said, it's going to be interesting seeing him on there. I remember his face the whole time when bloody Malcolm Butler intercepted Russell Wilson on the goal line in the Super Bowl. His face was like literally his jaw hit the ground. I think it's still there now.
Why didn't they run it?
I don't care. We won the ring. It's fine.
Who was on that man in the arena that was like, I'd have run it 4 times. That's what I'd have done.
I can't remember. It wasn't a Steeler.
Was it Lawyer?
No, it wasn't. It could have been.
I know. Some guy was like, I'd have run it 4 times.
I was already resigned to Seahawks winning the Super Bowl that game.
Yeah. It was like, just hand it to Marshall Lynch and you've got a touchdown.
He was averaging 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And you had a yard to go. It was ridiculous. But
anyway, speaking of Patriots, do you want to talk about this wide receiver that they've signed?
Little Jordan. So the guy's named after because his big brother wanted to name him after Michael Jordan, so his mum called him Little Jordan, which is quite funny. So I personally don't know much of this. He looks like he's come off the Saints practice squad. I did message my mates, the Saints fan who's a mate of mine, no response, which is surprise. It adds depth to not a, shall we say, a star wide receiver core.
I mean, he must be better than Harry.
Anyone's better than Harry. Old Butterhands himself. It's it just adds depth and it screams Belichick style player. Taking us on as practice squad. He was an undrafted player as well. Let's see what he can do. I'm rather excited, happy about that. We've signed Jacoby for another. Well, Jacoby's got a second round tender, isn't he?
Who knows? Jacoby might score more than one touchdown this season.
I so hope he does. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's your best wide receiver, in my opinion.
Oh, he is. He is a young version of Julian Edelman.
Speaking of Julian Edelman, great segue.
Hey, it's dropping little teasers. They want to come back and playing again. Could we see the secret school back in the blue of New England? He's already told Tom Brady to F off and don't be a sellout.
I don't see Jules. I don't see Jules coming back without Tom Brady as quarterback.
He's played under Cam Newton. He's obviously max better than Cam. He still does some kind of NFL thing. He says he's kept himself fit.
I don't see it happening, I'm afraid, Ollie. I don't want to burst your bubble, but I don't see it happening.
We know we love him.
I do love him.
I love Jules. Jules is an absolute legend.
I think PFF were very harsh on him, calling him a role player the other day.
Oh, that was shocking.
But I just don't see him coming back. What was it? They said, would you rather be a Hall of Fame quarterback with a Hall of Fame wide receiver without a ring like Larry Fitzgerald, or be a role player like Julian Edelman and have 2 rings? 3 rings.
He's got 3 rings, yeah.
Whatever.
He is. I mean, the guy made a career as a wide receiver, but he was at Penn State as a quarterback.
Yes.
And the Belichick phoned him up going, yeah, we don't know what we're going to do with you.
But you can play football.
You've got the football brain. And he started off a kick returner. And then he went to, got onto the wide receiving core. And then he moved himself up to being Tom Brady's go-to guy. His route running was second to none. He was so tough. He would get knocked down, he didn't care, he would get straight back up.
Yeah.
He would never give die attitude. I mean, that catch in the Super Bowl against Atlanta.
Falcons, yeah. That was incredible.
I still don't know how he did. Don't think anyone else in this league could be able to do that kind of thing that he did.
He's the sort of, it was the sort of like his attitude, that catch. He never gave up on the catch.
And at that pitch side to New England at that time, don't give up. Never give up. There were 23 points down.
28-3.
25 points down, that was it. And to come in, mid-third quarter.
End of third quarter, even. Or
pretty much. It was about 5 minutes left on the clock, something like that.
I think it was 3. I think it was 3 minutes, was it? 3:23.
And he would. And I think it would be good to have someone like that, like Jules, amongst these wide receivers.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Have someone to learn, Aguilar is a stellar player anyway, had a good career, but someone like Jacoby, Trey Nixon, who has been absolutely flying in minicamp.
We were just catching them, unlike Aguilar. that Philadelphia thing, I really shouldn't laugh because it was a really bad thing, but
that was a great joke.
Just the fact that the guy was like, and we were just catching the kids, unlike Aguilar.
Oh, what was it that Philadelphia said about Dallas on the weather?
Oh, yeah.
So there was Ollie sent it to me. There's a video going around of a weatherman in Philadelphia saying the temperature's going to be in the 90s.
It's going to peak in the 90s, like the Cowboys.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That had me roaring, I must admit. That was absolutely brilliant. Really should go and show that one out. What do you make of Mika Fitzpatrick's deal?
Well, it's funny because we're moving on to top 5 safeties later this episode, and I've actually got Minkah Fitzpatrick in my top 5, and I know you don't.
I don't know. He is one of these players who is a honourable mention, but yeah.
I mean, Muzz made his feelings clear on our Facebook post, saying it's worth every cent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for them, yes. But for me, no, I think there is.
I mean, This guy's an all-pro. He's the best. He's one of the best safeties in the league. I think it's a good deal. What was it? Was it 18.4 million a year, 36 guaranteed, 73 million?
Yep. Which is a good amount of money. It's not
I mean, he's the
wow,
high.
but it's
It
good.
made him the highest paid safety in the league.
Yeah. I mean, his stats, regular stats for 124 tackles from last season, one forced fumble, one recovery, one forced fumble. They're not brilliant stats for a safety. He was drafted by Miami. He's been in the
Yes,
league for 6 years. Well, this is going into his 6th year now. He is a good player,
he's
and
a very good player.
He fits well in that defensive scheme. How well would he go across into another scheme though? But
But
you know,
he's not going into another scheme at the moment, is he? He's still at
yeah, that's what I
Pittsburgh.
mean. Would he do as well in another scheme? That's the thing. I mean, his stats aren't electric. His career, he's only
So
made 352 tackles in 64 games. I'll say
yeah,
only.
he's. It surprised me that he'd never got a sack.
Yeah, you would have thought he would be one of these corners that is a blitzing corner. Like one of the guys I've got in my list is a blitzing corner. In fact, two of my guys have got three.
I
In fact,
mean, I mean, the most anyone's got in my list in career sacks is 15, and that's because he's been playing forever.
oh, I've only done it. I've done my stats over the last 2 years because
Oh,
one of my players have been playing for 2 years.
I took seasons. I took 2021 stats and career stats.
Fair enough. So I only did mine for the last two because that's what it was. But we'll get to it. He is a good player. Don't get me wrong, and he is a top 10 safety.
Yeah, in my eyes, he's a top 5 safety.
Fair enough. More than welcome to go with that one. We will argue that in about 20 minutes' time.
Yes. And then just a little aside, the Raiders have donated 1 million to the Ollies school district to help fortify security, which is a nice gesture from the Raiders.
It is a very nice gesture. It really is. To be fair, they probably owe that in police fines anyway. But yeah, it is a really nice gesture.
It would be nice to see other franchises, especially Texans and Cowboys, and people around the area to do the same or even donate more.
I reckon there should be a pot. So every time a penalty flag is thrown against your team, how many yards you're giving up is how $1,000 per yard is how much you should put into it at the end of the season.
And then where does this pot go?
To a charity of the franchise's decision. So, say one franchise gets 800 yards worth of penalties a year. That's a hell of a lot because I just said that because it's easy maths. They would have to give in $80,000 to a charity of their choice at the end of the season. That's what they should.
Who pays that though? The player or the owner?
The owner.
So
The franchise.
If you get holding, does the person who hold it pay the 5,000 or whatever?
I didn't think that much into it. I just literally off the top of my head. Okay, I just thought it'd be a good idea.
Imagine that if you get a holding penalty, you have to pay a fine of $5,000.
You should do anyway.
Or is it 10 grand because it's 10 yards?
Holdings.
Depends if it's defensive or offensive.
Yeah, if it's offense, it's 10. No, it's offense is 5, and it's defensive is 10. Isn't normally?
Yeah.
The other way around. Can't remember.
Yeah, one of them. But yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That's what I can show. I might put that to the NFL. I might tweet it out.
Yeah.
See what the NFL say. It is a good thing. If you want to see any penalties and you think of anything how they should put charities in, let us know. Any comments? Yes. Drop us a comment. We will endeavour to read them out, even if it's taking the mick out of that one or this one. No, that one. No, that one. Get it right in a minute.
Or that one. Anyway, I think it's time for us to make like the village people and go west.
Oh, I'm not gonna go down that song. No, it wasn't Village People.
Just the Village People have done a cover of it.
Pet Shop Boy.
The Village People have definitely done a cover of it.
I will take your word for that one. That is more your style of music than mine.
Yeah, well, I don't think Slipknot have done Go West.
Definitely not.
Should
although
we start?
Corey might have done somewhere along the line.
Should we go alphabetical and start with the AFC
Let's go with the AFC. So
and start with the AFC West with
the Chiefs.
the Kansas City Chiefs?
So last year's standings, Kansas won the division with a 12-5, got to the conference final. Las Vegas finished the record season with a 10-7 record, got to the wild cards. LA Chargers finished at 9-8, losing literally in the last game of the regular season to Las Vegas for a playoff shootout. And Denver finished bottom.
I have no idea why, but I had the Chargers record down as 9-4.
What happened to the other 4 games?
I don't know.
um,
I know when
yeah,
I got to the West, I'd sort of had enough of doing this full thing. So I
my
think
hand's hurting now. I've got to stop writing. Yeah, I know that
yes.
feeling. Don't normally do that much writing myself. No, it's very interesting. Shall we start with Kansas? Yeah, Kansas.
Yeah. So I think the big thing is how good is this receiving core with MVS and Juju as their like top receivers after losing Hill?
When you've got Kittle, no,
Kelsey.
Kelsey, even Bonke,
We have Kittle.
as your tight end who acts as a wide receiver. Juju is still a brilliant wide receiver. He obviously missed last season because of his shoulder injury.
I know Kelsey's going to act as a WR1, but is Juju a true number one? I don't think he is. And I really like Valdez Scantling, but again, I don't think he's a WR1.
Interesting stat. Marcus Vanquist Scouting, easy for MVS. I'll say
Marquez Valdez Scantling.
Thank you. Easy for you to say. Is faster yards after catch than Tyreek Hill.
Really?
Yep. And Juju isn't exactly a slouch himself.
No.
When he's not TikTok dancing.
And let's look at their defense too, because the Chiefs have lost some pieces of defense.
They have.
Travarius Ward going to the Niners is an example.
Travarius Ward's going to the Niners, but they have drafted well. They've drafted McDuffie, who's a brilliant corner, who I actually wanted in New England. They've improved their line with Kavlofis. I think that's how you pronounce it.
The Greek guy, as we called him during our mock drafts, the Greek guy.
The Greek freak 2.0.
Yeah, the Greek freak from football.
Yeah. And the Sky Moore is a really good wide receiver.
Sky Moore is quick.
Yeah. So he's not the quick. He wasn't the quickest. He was the top. I think he was 6th overall quickest of the wide receiver corps, but he was still a sub. I think he was sub 4.5, which is rapid.
I think he was about 4.3, wasn't he?
He was definitely sub 4.5 anyway. One of his ones was definitely sub 4. Well, they were both sub 4.5, but one of them, it was ridiculous. They have a very hard schedule. They've got the 5th hardest overall.
Well, I mean, they should. They're one of the best teams.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting about this division is, even with now Russ in Denver, I really struggled to pick an order here.
I mean, with both Wests, really, they're going to have the hardest schedules because they have to play each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And the AFC West are playing the NFC West this season. Just make the schedules even harder.
I don't see a number 1 seed coming out of this division.
I don't see a number 1 seed coming out of either of the Wests, but we'll get on to
purely the fact because they have to play both teams. They have to play each other twice, and they've got to play the NFC ones.
Yeah,
that's 9. No, 9 really hard games.
Yes. No, your maths was right the first time. 9.
Yeah, I had to really think about that. And you can tell it's Thursday and it's hot, very hot. Unless you're in Scotland, which someone said is 17 degrees and raining.
It's going to be even hotter tomorrow.
Oh yes. On to Las Vegas. Okay.
Now, truly, do you think the Raiders have improved?
Do the Raiders have a chance?
Because yes, they brought in Devontae Adams, and yes, they brought in Chandler Jones, and yes, I know Devontae Adams is saying Derek Carr is just as good as Patrick Mahomes,
Well, he's going to say that.
But do they actually have a chance? If John's watching, I'd like to know if he actually thinks they have a chance.
I'm going to say it depends how quickly McDaniels and the GM's name, who's slipped the top of my head, who I should know, has also come from
Mike
Foxborough.
somebody? Oh no,
Yeah,
they got a new one, didn't they?
Gets the New England Patriots idea of thinking into Las Vegas.
I mean, you're
New
going to
England
think
and
they
Las
have a
Vegas
chance.
is very, very different.
You're going to think they have a chance because you love McDaniel so much.
No, I don't love the McDaniels so much at all. They brought in 3 ex-Pats players: Harmon, Holston, and a wide receiver as well.
The quarterback too.
The running back, yeah.
They have the quarterback too.
Oh yeah, it's 4 now. Since I wrote this down, I forgot he came in.
Jared Stidham, wasn't it?
Jared Stidham, who we're going to probably see in about 6 weeks' time.
Why?
Well, he's going to start week 1, isn't he?
Isn't Carr going to start?
What, week 1 pre-season?
Oh, pre-season, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think. I mean, they probably won the draft. They got the best wide receiver in the for the first round and the second round pick. That's really good. I think they're going to be closer to Kansas.
Who did the Raiders get again?
Devontae.
Yeah, but sorry, I got confused. I was thinking they drafted someone then.
No, they obviously they gave it the first and second pick for Devontae. So we're seeing this now, aren't we? The LA Rams model way of doing it.
Yeah,
let's get experienced players into the team and going from there.
Yes. They throw money into it and hope for the best.
They've got the second half of the schedule in the league. Like we said, they're playing each other. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Are they best than the Chargers?
Well, they weren't better than the Chargers last year, and they beat them.
That's true. Have they done enough to overtake the Chargers?
No.
I don't know. It's like I said. It's really. I think Kansas will still win it.
Yes,
I don't think it's going to be as comfortable as it was last year.
But I have the Raiders down as coming third.
I could see this could be a case of all 4 could get into the playoffs, or only 1 could get in the playoffs because everyone's going to take games off each other.
Yes.
This isn't going to be a 6-0 division win this year. It really isn't.
On to the Chargers.
On to the Lightning Bolts. Yeah. Oh my God, how well have they brought in?
Their defense this year is scary good.
They've got the guy who's led the interceptions in the league over the last 4 years in J.C. Jackson.
And Bosa and Khalil Mack. And Joey Bosa on the same defensive line.
And not only that, but they've got a very good linebacker in Carl Van Noy. Okay, yes, he's not as quick as he was, but he's still very, very good. And he will do well in that, marshalling that defense, because I think that's what they've missed over the last couple of years, a leader in that defensive line or in that defense core.
Yeah, I've literally written Chargers defensive upgrades.
That's my God, yeah. I've written LA Chargers end, and it's all defense.
Yeah.
And not only that, they've got Zach Johnson as well. Or Zion Johnson, sorry, not Zach Johnson, Zion Johnson.
Zach Johnson's a golfer, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the US Open before, but...
Yep. I think this defense could take them up to challenge Kansas.
I don't think they'll challenge Kansas, but I do think they'll get in the playoffs as a wild card.
Are there weapons outside Allen and Eckler good enough?
I think Mike Williams is a fine WR2.
Yeah, he is, but is he as good as Kansas WR2? Is he as good as Las Vegas WR2? Is he as good as Bills WR2?
I have to admit, I'm not.
It's probably better than Pat's WR1, but
I'm not sold on Gerald Everett as a tight end, though.
I'm not either. I think that's one thing. I believe in my draft, I said they needed a tight end. I thought they would have drafted a tight end.
Well, I think they may try and roll with Trey McKitty towards the end of the season, who they drafted last year.
Possibly, but I don't know. It's a real tricky, thing to do, isn't it? How are you gonna? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. LA Chargers, their defense is going to win them games if
Yeah,
they mold.
it
It
definitely will.
definitely win the games. I mean, if they can get Khalil Mack,
Playing like
Russ,
he
there
did.
you go. Raiders stroke when he
Yeah,
went from Raiders to the Bears. The first season when he was at the Bears, Chicago Bears was the number one defense that year. If
yeah,
they can get that Khalil Mack, and you've got probably the best secondary in the league now with J.C. Jackson in there, probably
yes.
there in the obviously
And
got
uh,
J.C. Jackson,
and
Darwin James as well,
yeah, Derwin James, my number one linebacker. Just
safety.
yeah, and he's my number one safety.
Yeah, snap. On to Denver.
Can Russ cook in Denver?
Russ will bring them an extra 2 games over
But
the
can
season.
he if he plays like he did at Seattle?
I think he will because he's got a better O line in Denver. A lot better O line. He's got more weapons in there now. Yes, okay, he hasn't got Tyler Lockett and he hasn't got Derek Metcalf. But,
He
Judy's
has
good.
Judy, he has Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another wide
and
receiver that I'm forgetting.
don't forget they got the running back as well, whose name slipped my mind as well.
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams, yeah.
Is there another? I feel like they have another wide receiver that I'm forgetting.
Probably. Their running back core is already better than Denver's, Seattle's already. I think he is 2, maybe even 3 games on them.
How much of a loss do you think Fant will be? Because Fant's a good tight end.
Fant is a good tight end.
I mean, I'd rather have Russell Wilson than Fant, but
I like Noah Fant. I'd happily take him in New England if he hit free agency. I'd happily have him in New England.
You already have Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith. You don't need another tight end.
We've always rolled with 3 tight ends. We've always had 3 tight ends. Good tight ends. We always at one point we had Hernandez and Gronk, and another time I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Let's not go down the Hernandez rabbit hole.
No, let's not go down that one. But Denver are a good side. I like Denver.
Okay, so I have Chiefs first. I have Chargers second. I have Raiders third. And I have Broncos fourth.
You've still got. You've just swapped.
I've just swapped Raiders and Chargers around.
I have got Kansas winning the division as well, because I don't think the other teams have done just enough yet to do that. And I'm going to say sorry, John, but I will go Chargers second, and I'm going to put Denver then at Las Vegas.
You're going to put Denver third and Raiders bottom.
But I could see all of them having a better record than they did last year, apart from Kansas. Because I can't see Kansas getting much better than a 12 and a 5. It could be all wrong. You could see this is the division where you could see Las Vegas are going to be number 1, and Kansas could be bottom, and they could also make it. Kansas won't be bottom. I think if Kansas don't win the division, LA don't win the division, or even get to the playoffs, you will see the head coach.
Yeah.
It's playoffs or bust. I think.
Should we move on to the best division in football?
Oh, what's that? NFC East.
So we had the Rams, who obviously won the Super Bowl, 12-5. Cardinals, who people may argue should have won the division at 11-6. We had the Niners, the best at 10-7, and then we had the Sea Chickens at 7-10.
Now, just to be non-biased, we have the Seahawks at 10-7 or 7-10.
7-10. Shall we start with the Super Bowl champs?
We got to start with the Super Bowl champs, haven't we?
I love how we said Sea Chickens and we lost 3 viewers.
We must have offended Neil. from 5-star. LA Rams, really, really, really good, and they haven't lost major thing. Okay, yes, they've lost Wentworth to retirement and Odell Beckham.
The two people I mean, Odell still might sign back. The two people I wrote down were Whitworth and Von Miller.
Yeah, oh bloody hell, Von Miller traded after I written all this down. Completely forgot. Oh yeah, Von Miller. I'll write that down now because I was off it. Von Miller is a big blow to them because
I'm not sure he is.
yes, okay, he only came in halfway through the season, but did you see Aaron Donald's stats went up then?
Yeah, they are a weaker side without Von Miller, but they still have a good enough defense.
That's why I need to turn the light on. That's why I say Von Miller's a bit of a loss. It's just because it takes that. It takes the the pressure off Aaron Donald when Von Miller was there.
I think Whitworth's a bigger loss.
Let's see what they're going to be like at left tackle. What they're going to be like because he was
left
44.
Left tackle is one of the most important positions in football.
That's what blindside led you to believe. Yes. Obviously, they've got the hardest record in the league.
Yeah.
Can they run it back though?
I think they definitely have a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've got one of the toughest divisions. They've now got a harder path in because they've got the AFC West, the NFC West, AFC West. Get it right in a minute.
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
As well. So that's 9 really hard games. I don't know what favoritism.
But let's not forget they have brought in some good players like Bobby Wagner.
Alan Robinson, Brandon Powell.
Wagner and Robinson are the two I have written down.
They're good players they brought in. What is going to be made to seen is not having many draft picks in the first 4 rounds.
Yes.
First 4 rounds. Is that going to pay 2-3 years down the line?
I think
is he going to pay this season?
I think there's some favoritism here, but I have them coming second in the division.
I still think they're going to win it.
Yeah, well, who do you think I've got winning it?
Seahawks?
No, I have the Sea Chickens coming convincingly bottom.
Shall we go to the second biggest choking team in the NFL?
Oh yes, and their quarterback's throwing his toys out the pram.
Well, he is about big enough to get in a pram, or small enough to fit in a pram.
He's doing his best Aaron Rodgers impression.
Right, this is my issue with Kyler Murray. I have said this before. I'm sure I have. Kyler Murray, you are a good player week 1 to 12. You are demanding money for people for like quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls or who've got their teams to the playoffs and won games in the playoffs. You haven't. You are, I'm going to get sacked. Running around with his little legs running all over the place. You tell I don't like Kyler Murray. I'm sorry for the people who do like Kyler Murray. And the Cardinals fans, I do know one. I don't think Kyler Murray is a good enough quarterback to take them to that level. He is like Tannehill. Can take them to a certain level, but can't take them to another level.
Well, they did trade to bring in his friend.
Good old in-betweeners one there. Yeah. I just don't think he's good enough. I really don't. I know they've got an even harder schedule.
But do you think bringing in Hollywood Brown will help him?
No, I really don't, because I don't think he's that good of a quarterback.
Do you think the sort of Burrows Chase connection will come out again?
Possibly, but it's been a lot longer since they were. That connection might have fallen apart. Burrows and Chase had a year apart. That is it. Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown's had 3-4 years.
True.
I don't think Kyler Murray is a good enough quarterback to take that franchise where they need to go. They need someone.
I mean, with Hollywood Brown and when he gets back, DeAndre Hopkins, they have a good wide receiving core.
If he comes back.
Well, he will come back after 6 games.
Yeah, well, is he going to be the same player? Is he going to be a player?
I mean, I hope so. I just picked him up in the Dynasty League.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of Kyler Murray, and I don't think.
Oh, really? You didn't make that very clear.
No, I just don't think he's good enough to go in there. Bringing in Jordan Phillips though is a good. Losing Jordan Phillips, Trey McBride is a good tight end to bring in.
Yeah, but I mean, they lost Chandler Jones on the defense.
Yeah,
That's a big loss, and I've
that's
got
a
them
big
losing.
loss.
And Chase Edmonds in behind James Conner, because James Conner is another person that's made of one-ply toilet paper.
He did all right for them though last season,
Yeah, but
and he was good out. He was good receiving out the backfield as well, which
I
he
think
added to that game.
I think Chase Edmonds is quite a big loss.
Off to Miami, yeah, that is a massive loss for them. Go on then.
I've been waiting 4 weeks for this.
4 weeks and 3/4 of a segment.
Yeah, I know.
Good job you weren't last in the division, wasn't it? You'd have been biting at the chaff like weeks ago. Go on then.
San Francisco.
Yep.
How good is Trey Lance? That's the question, isn't it?
That is the big question. How long ago? Jimmy, we're sorry. Can you throw a ball for us, please?
So the two people I've got as losing that I think are both. This was before Mac retired, so Mac is a massive loss at centre.
Yeah.
I've also got us losing Laken Tomlinson in the O line.
Yep.
So that's two massive O linemen, and I'm not sure how good Aaron Banks and Brunel is going to be in the O line. His name Brunel.
I'm just letting you go for this one.
Okay.
I didn't write anything down for this one because I just
Okay. So we have a bit of a piece together O line, and I'm not sure how good they're going to be. I'm still happy with our defense, and I feel like having Javarius Ward and Ambry Thomas at cornerback is, and obviously Emmanuel Mosley too. They're good enough. I'm a bit worried about safety because we have Jimmy Ward, who's great, but I'm not sure about who we're going to put with Jimmy Ward, whether it's Hufanga or someone else. But yeah, I am actually feeling pretty good about the season, and I've got us winning the division. But the $1 million question is Trey Lance.
Right. Trey Lance, I see as a Zach Wilson. Good with his legs, has a good arm. Not sure. I didn't see enough of him last year. Okay, yeah, I saw the 5 minutes highlights that they put on NFL Network for the games.
Nobody saw nothing last year. He only played 2 games. He only started 2 games.
So I don't know. Yeah, he's almost like a rookie quarterback who's had a year's experience in the NFL.
He is, yeah.
Having those 2 games will help him, and having that connection. But how much can you rely on Debo as that safety net without him getting absolutely flattened? Debo's going to get double teamed.
Yeah, well, we have Mitchell.
That sounds really wrong, as I said in my head.
We have Mitchell. we have Ayuk. We have Kittle. We have a good offensive weapons. It's the O line that I'm worried about.
I wouldn't. Yeah, okay. O line. Yeah, perverts pocket. As long as he can get out and it gives him enough time to go through his progressions, as long as it gives him enough time to get out of the pocket, he could probably do a job, and he could probably do a scramble. He could probably do a Lamar Jackson type role.
Yeah, but we don't want him doing 16 runs a game like he did against Arizona, because then you will get injured.
Yeah, he's going to get hit. That's what happened with them. You've got the 5th hardest schedule. That's another issue as well.
Yeah,
which is going to happen because you're
playing finishing third in your division, having like the joint 5th hardest schedule is brutal.
Like you said, you've got a very tricky division. Well, 3/4 of you, a very tricky division, and then you've got to play the other West division as well, which is probably the hardest division in the league now.
Well, I think the 2 West divisions are by far the hardest.
Yeah,
Are you going to try and make a case for the Patriots making the AFC East harder?
No, I don't know. There's the AFC East is, it's down to a 1-horse team. At the moment, Seattle.
The Sea Chickens.
They drafted a lot better this year. Charles Cross, Ken Walker, and Kobe Bryant, who's going to be wearing the number 8 to as reference to the great
The
Black
great,
Mamba
the,
himself.
the great late Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, which is a brilliant. They've got the easiest division. You've got a wide receiver who's holding out for a contract.
You have
which I don't blame him. He wants to get paid before his stats fall off the cliff because you haven't got a quarterback who can't throw the bloody ball
you
to
have your
him.
quarterbacks of Drew Lock and Geno Smith, neither of which fill me with confidence.
This is why I don't understand. They haven't gone for Jimmy. They haven't gone for Baker. They
We
haven't gone
wouldn't
for
we wouldn't give him Jimmy.
exactly, but they could have gone. What can we get for Jimmy? What do you want for Jimmy? I like Ken Walker. You know I'm a massive fan of Ken Walker. I've drafted him in all my leagues.
One of the two things I thought they'd do would be A, draft a quarterback, which they didn't do, or B, go get Baker.
And they still could get Baker.
They don't seem interested in Baker.
Which is strange. I don't get that. I really don't at all. You know, why Baker sat there or why Jimmy's still sat there. I can understand why Jimmy's in San Francisco because they've got this
rookie. He can't throw the ball.
Yeah, he can't throw the ball for another, 10 weeks? No, 6, 7 weeks, something like that, isn't it?
I think it's 4 or 5 now.
Oh, okay. And you've got effectively a rookie quarterback who's only played 7 games.
He's only started 2.
Yeah, and he played 5 at college level, and he's only played 2 in the NFL.
He played 17 at college, thank you.
And he played that many, did he?
Yeah.
I thought he only played 5. Okay.
No, he played a lot more than 5.
I apologise for that indiscrepancy.
He didn't play as many as most quarterbacks, but he played a lot more than 5.
Yeah. They, I think the Seahawks are in trouble. I think you could see the Seahawks as the number 1 pick.
I think it's definitely a possibility.
And then they're going to have another Bo Callahan on their situation.
Oh, we love a draft day reference on this podcast.
Far too much. We reference that far too much.
I mean that's on Johnny Football.
Oh yes, Johnny Football.
So I've got the Niners winning the division, Rams second, Cardinals third, Sea Chickens 4.
You gotta stop saying Sea Chickens, man.
Oh, we could lose every viewer we've ever had, and I'd still call them the Sea Chickens.
And I still wrote you down as third, Niners down as third, fourth. See, I'm going to agree with the Seahawks. And I'm going to agree with Arizona.
Oh, you got Arizona's third too?
I got Arizona third too.
And you're going to put the Rams winning?
I'm putting the Rams winning. I just think they've got Matt Stafford. And if you had Matt Stafford in San Francisco, you'd win the division. But because you've got Trey Lance, who is pretty much an unknown quantity.
Yeah, he's definitely an enigma.
That could be the reason why you might not even make the playoffs. It could see Arizona pip you.
Well,
I don't see that.
I was talking about this the other day. I was saying I think a successful season next year is if Trey Lance is better at the end of the season than he is at the start of the season. That I think is a successful season. Anything else is a bonus.
Well, let's compare him, his stats this season, to Zach Wilson's stats from last season. Because I think that'd be the same. He is the same kind of quarterback. He is a very good scrambler. He has got a good arm, like Zach Wilson. And he has got a good coaching staff as well. I mean,
we will be comparing Trey Lance's stats this season to Mac Jones's stats this season because we have a bet on it.
For one, finally. Although Zach does look Mac looks absolutely epic. And he seems to have a new favourite target as well, Trey Nixon, which is good.
So, on to the safeties?
On to the safeties. Oh, we both hit at the same time. So, this week's our top 5 safeties. There is so many good safeties in this league. I was going for a go.
I know.
I've got 10 written down here. Okay, let's have a look at the last couple of years. That's the best way to do it.
I had a list of 9, but I literally now down to 5 about half an hour before we started.
It's easy enough done, isn't it? It really is. You could have just gone, right, okay, you can have him, you can have him, you can have him, you can have him. Um, your number 5
My number 5 is Jesse Bates.
from Cincinnati.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, he was
He
on
did.
my top 10.
He didn't have a great season last season. Only 80 tackles, no sacks, 1 interception, 3 passes defended. But in his career, 395 tackles, 10 interceptions, 34 pass defense. I think I like him.
I agree. He wasn't brilliant in the regular season.
John, Mr. Hope, if you weren't a Niners fan, yes, I probably would look at the division more objectively. I'm not gonna lie that I'm not gonna lie, I was very biased in that. If I looked at it more objectively,
A little,
I'd probably think the Rams are gonna win the division. But I'm
a
gonna have
little.
faith in Trey Lance and say the Niners are.
So,
And I also really wanted to put Jimmy Ward in this top 5, but couldn't.
my number 5 is from New York Giants, Xavier McKinney.
Good, yeah.
2 years in the NFL.
And then John comes with we're winning. Yeah, well, I mean, John, I'm not sure if you were watching when we did the AFC West, but we definitely didn't
Put you in the winner.
that.
Definitely didn't put you in the top 2 either. Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you're the one that put them bottom.
I tell you what, I could say in 7 weeks' time and the 4 could change. It really could.
Yes.
Anyway, Xavier McKinney, really, really good range. So much good recovery skills. I could see a lot of Kyler Hamilton's going to be a lot like this guy.
Oh yeah,
2 seasons. He's played 20.
Kyler Hamilton may be in this list next year.
Yeah, Kyler Hamilton, Xavier McKinney, 23 games in 2 years, 118 tackles, 5 interceptions this season alone, 1 touchdown and 10 pass deflects in this season. They are good stats. You know, he's got the most pass deflected. He's got the most interceptions in a season. And he's the only one in my... No, there's 2 in my top 5 who scored a touchdown.
I think most of mine have scored a touchdown, but they've been playing. But a lot of them have been playing a while.
Yeah. In the last 2 years. Buda Baker is my number 4.
Buda Baker was an honourable mention for mine. I've got the man we already talked about, Minka Fitzpatrick, as my number 4.
So Buda Baker is a human missile. You should see he hits so bloody hard.
I don't think you did put New England to win your division, did you? I think you put Buffalo.
No, I didn't. I had New England coming second, which was a head over heart type. No, a heart over head matter.
Yeah, because they're going to come third.
No, they're going to win the division. What are you on about? No, New England. I've got. I've got Buffalo winning that division. New England second. Yeah. Anyway, Buda Baker for me is the 4th best safety at the moment. The last 2 games, he's played 32 games, 216 tackles, 4 sacks, which isn't the most in the league, in my group. 1 forced fumble, 1 recovered, and he's had 5 interceptions over the 2 seasons. So
I mean, everyone just remember Buda Baker for getting absolutely ruined by DK Metcalf.
When he gave DK Metcalf gave him 15 yards and caught him by the 10.
Yes.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
So I've got Minka Fitzpatrick as mine now that he's played safety. This season alone, 116 tackles, no sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 pass defended. In his career, 352 tackles, no sacks, 13 interceptions, 34 passes defended.
Yeah, I haven't got him in my top 5.
Was he an honourable mention?
He is an honourable mention. He was in my top 10.
Yeah.
Who have you got as number 3?
I really hope my mate Jack's watching because I've got Harrison Smith of the Vikings.
He's in my top 10. He is an honourable mention. I've gone for Jordan Poyer.
Fair enough.
The man who's led the league last year in receiving yards against him while covering.
So Harrison Smith had 99 tackles this season, 3 sacks, 1 interception, 6 passes defended. I mean, this guy's been playing a while. In his career, he's had 740 tackles,
Wow.
15 and a half sacks, 26 interceptions, 61 passes defended. I mean, they're exceptional stats for safety.
They are, and he's had a little bit of a drop off. That's why I haven't had him in
Yeah.
mind, because his drop offs the last 2
I
years haven't
mean,
been that good.
this time last year, I'd have probably put Devin McCourty in it, but he dropped off too
Yeah.
much last season.
See, I've got Jordan Poyer. I mean, he was superb for Buffalo. He was absolutely okay, yeah, brilliant against us, which was a bit, he had an interception against us in the postseason. His first 2 games, 217 tackles, 5 sacks, which actually is leading the safeties over the last 2 years. 7 interceptions and 14 pass deflects in the last 2 years. They are good stats. Really, really good stats. That's why he's in my top 3. Who of you are going at number 2?
So at number 2, I have the Honey Badger himself,
I got
Tyrann Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu. He didn't even make my top 10. How mad is that?
So I have him. He didn't have a great season again last season. 73 tackles, 1 sack, 3 interceptions, 3 pass defense. But if you look at him in the last 6 years, his career, 520 tackles, 8 sacks, 22 interceptions, 61 pass defenses, and he's just been an all-round absolute monster the past 5 years or so since he joined the Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely. And look what happened when he went off that defense against Cincinnati. They lost their captain, their leader on that defensive
Yeah,
side,
I mean,
especially in the secondary.
it changed the game, didn't it?
It did for them. I've got KV31, Kevin Byard, at my number 2. Last 2 seasons, 33 games, 179 tackles, a sack, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 6 interceptions, and a touchdown. He's only only 2 of my players who scored touchdowns in my top 5. I've seen him play over in the UK.
Yeah,
and
this guy's a monster.
He's the best safety I've seen in the UK.
Yes.
Playing in the UK, bar none. He is absolutely brilliant. And yeah, it was really close. My top 2 was really, really close, but I think
I think we both agree on number 1. Actually,
I think we do as well. Shall we go? 3, 2, 1.
Derwin
James Jr.
This is amazing because on the other 3 top 5, we've had 4 the same.
Yeah.
And for once, we actually have a bit of discussion because we've got 4 different.
4 different. Playing DB myself, I see it differently. I mean, look to the stats.
I mean, let's look at Derwin James's stats last year. 118 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 pass defenders, career 257 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 5 interceptions, 17 pass defenders. And I mean, he was coming off a bad injury last year.
Yeah, he should have been comeback player of the year. When we're doing our predictions at the start of last year, completely forgot about him. He's only been in the league. He's only been in the league what, 3 years now? 4 years?
3 or 4 years,
is it? Yeah. And he is an absolute monster. He looked like a renewed player when he came back from injury this year. He was absolutely brilliant. Really, really good player. And having Darwin James and now JC Jackson there as well. And forgive me, I can't remember who the second corner is in LA.
Me either, to be honest. But I mean, Khalil Mack.
That is a scary.
Khalil Mack, Joey Basa. It's scary, isn't it?
It's really, really.
Right.
There is a sack and interception machine coming from LA.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
There are 2 honorable mentions I'd like to make.
Go on then.
I don't have their stats on me, but John Johnson from Cleveland.
Yes.
And Jeffrey Simmons from Denver.
Good ones. I like. There's Kyler Duggar from New England as well.
Yeah. Oh, of course you put a Patriots guy in there.
Hey, he's not even in my top 10.
Yeah, well, I won't try and get Jimmy Ward in my top 5, but I wrote my top 10. I couldn't even get him in that. So
Yeah, I couldn't even get Kyler Duggan in my top 10. Duggan's stats are good, but compared to these, it's ridiculous. It's going to be interesting now. JC Jackson's gone from that secondary in New England. Who's going to take that mantle from him? Kyler Duggan is completely different play. He hits incredibly hard, and he is ball. He is man then ball. JC Jackson's ball then man. It's going to be an interesting way it's going to go from there.
man and ball makes it sound like a lot of PI penalties are coming your way.
Probably. If you don't agree with our top 5 and you think we missed someone, please jot them down. We were going to have our social media guy, but he's having some issues with his children. Trust me, I know on that. I haven't stiff-armed any tonight, which is quite good. He will get our top 5 up because I think this is quite a big talking point on this one. I think.
It's definitely opinion thing that can cause debate, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely. Again, as always do, we have got season 2 of our podcast fantasy. Please join. The league name is running across the bottom. There is half a dozen spaces left. I think I looked at earlier.
I think there's 7.
Please join the league. It will be drafted around before the season starts, obviously.
Yeah. The current draft is not the actual draft date. It's just estimate right now. I'm commish, so
he could play with
if you have any questions, send me it.
If you'd like us to do a top 5, let us know as well. Please put the comments in on the show to see what you want, whether it's going to be OCs, GMs, stadiums, defensive linemen.
We've done defensive linemen.
Oh, we had? No, we did.
That was our first one.
Defense, wasn't it?
Same thing.
Yeah.
I'd still put Bosa in.
Yeah, centers, whatever you want. QBs. We haven't done QBs actually.
Well, I mean, if we're doing our top 5 QBs, we might as well just get the ranking that we did 4 weeks ago and still haven't done yet.
Which we are going to do next week because we haven't got any divisions to go through.
So John's asking for top 5 coaches. So that'll be the opposite of what we did last week, doing the top 5 under fire coaches.
That's going to be interesting. Would you want head coaches or O-line or OCs or what?
Let's do this next time.
College mascots.
I think this time for Christmas tree has got to be number 1.
Oh, yeah, that could be quite good. I'll have to Google that one because I don't know many of the college mascots. I do apologise.
I know. We'll come up with something for next week.
As always, please give us a follow on the socials rolling across the bottom of the screen now. We are slowly crawling. We'd love to hit 250 by pre-season. We'd love to hit 500 before pre-season starts. Give us a like and follow us on Twitter as well. Obviously, these recordings are going on Spotify and on YouTube as well.
As well as Facebook, yes.
Give us a like, give us a follow, hit the subscribe button, all that rubbish. I sound like a 12-year-old kid. That's quite scary. And ladies and gentlemen,
please like and subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will speak to you same time, same place next week. All it leaves me to say is stay safe.